The leadership saga of Conservative Patrick Brown continues with new information that a whistleblower has come forward. I'm Adrienne Batra. With me is Brian Lilley, our political columnist at The Sun. Okay, Brian, there are so many different layers that continue to flow out and more information. The latest being that a so-called whistleblower came forward and said that she was the one that indeed sent information to LEOC, the leaders committee that organizes the leadership races at the Conservative Party, and said it was me. I had issues. There was something sketchy going on. And I think there's allegations of a corporate donor. What happened?
So this is part of why I said the other day, this doesn't look good for the Conservative Party because it's going to keep coming out in dribs and drabs. When the party first booted Patrick Brown on Tuesday, they did so in a very quiet way. They didn't want to say what this was about. We knew that they would have to say something. Then just Thursday night, a woman came forward and said, I was the whistleblower. Her name is Debbie Jodouin. She is someone who's worked with Patrick Brown in the past. In fact, if you are in Ottawa Conservative circles, you probably know Debbie Jodouin. I've worked with her on a campaign, seen her at different events. She's very active, very involved, but she's worked with pretty much everybody involved in the party and the leadership at some point. So you've got people saying, see, she's a plant for Pierre Poilievre because look at her Twitter feed, or she's worked with this person on the Poilievre camp in the past. But I can tell you, she worked closely with Patrick Brown when he was Ontario PC leader, and she was hired to work on his campaign. She also was apparently, and we're trying to get more details on this, hired to work by the party prior to all of this. So there is a lot of messiness going on here in terms of how she's involved, who was paying her. She says that a private company was paying her, and the Brown campaign says that that they were following all the rules. Well, that would be against the rules because at that point you've got someone who is a paid campaign worker, not a volunteer, being paid by a company. Not allowed to have corporate or union donations in federal politics anymore. That's why Ian Brody says that he referenced this over to Elections Canada. And of course, we know the Commissioner of Canada Elections is now investigating, but they have to investigate every complaint that goes forward to them.
Okay, let's now move this forward because Ian, the concern that has always been that with so few details, when the party decided that Patrick Brown was no longer going to be a contender for the leadership, they gave very little information. And you and I know what happens when little information is put out there. It creates a vacuum. So then we surmise, we suspect, we put our own sort of curiosity on it, and it leads to all sorts of, speculation about what's really going on. Mm-hmm. But now we have another statement, which probably should have been put out originally by Ian Brody, whom both of us know is above reproach when it comes to these sorts of political machinations. He's been a long time conservative, has worked in this conservative circles for many years. So many people know him to be unimpeachable and would not have made the decision to have Patrick Brown out without some serious information, credible information at hand. The Brown campaign is alleging that Mr. Brody had information but didn't share it with LEOC. But now Brody has put out a statement saying to the party membership, talking about that they did have credible and verifiable information.
So what I'm told is that, through the statement from Ian Brody, who's Stephen Harper's former chief of staff when he was first elected, been highly involved in the party, and is currently chair of the Leadership Election Organizing Committee. He put out a statement that reads in part, the Patrick Brown campaign delivered a response on July 1st that did not address our concerns about violations. Contact continued with the campaign between July 2nd and July 5th, right up until the July 5th LEOC meeting. In the spirit of good faith and fairness, the party gave them every opportunity to clarify and resolve their concerns aside. Ultimately, that effort failed. To be clear, the Brown campaign knew full well what the allegations were. Any suggestion to the contrary is simply incorrect. So that's part of a statement that went out to members of the Conservative Party from Ian Brodie to try and clear this up. Will it clear it up? No. This is going to continue. And how it ends up in the courts, I don't know. Will there be a lawsuit from Patrick Brown, either against the party or against specific people in other campaigns? Will he sue Debbie Jodouin?
But doesn't it certainly put to rest that this was all drummed up by another campaign, that this is some mass conspiracy? Doesn't this sort of all put that to bed? Like, I mean, I know that the lawyers that Patrick Brown has hired will do nothing short of an autopsy on getting all the information they possibly can to have him reinstated in the leadership race. But is that even possible? And you tweeted earlier that his name is already on the ballots, and the ballots are in the mailbox, and people are receiving them.
That's going to be the confusing part, because not everybody follows this quite the way that you and I do, even people who signed up and are members of the party. So yeah, the ballots started arriving in people's mailboxes this week. If you vote for Patrick Brown and mail it in, that first ballot vote will not count. They'll go automatically to the next person and make that your first choice. That's how they say they're going to work on that. But the idea, Adrienne, that this is all put to bed now with this latest statement from Leoc, no. Politics and conspiracies all go well together. And as soon as Debbie Jodouin's name came out, I had messages saying, well, see, she was a plant by the Poilievre campaign. That's what's driving this. She was always there just to look after Pierre Poilievre while using Patrick Brown. So no, it's not going to put it to bed. People are going to continue to argue and point fingers and blame. And but I haven't seen what the legal recourse will be, but I don't see this ending anytime soon.
For the Conservatives, who have sold hundreds of thousands of memberships and have some momentum behind the party with a very beleaguered Liberal government, the last thing they want to do is get caught up in this melodrama. Log on to Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.